Time of the year again, people are coming into Ireland looking for a place to stay. So I'm gonna briefly touch on what you are going to need when you're looking for a place or accommodation in Ireland, whether it's in Dublin or outside Dublin. So first of all, I'm going to be discussing about 3 or 4 things that you're going to need, being a reliable source, where to get information when you're looking for accommodation, and then scammers. Don't be scammed when you're looking for accommodation, and then legit websites, and then Facebook groups that you're gonna have to look out for when you are looking for accommodation in Ireland. So tune in, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, do so. Like and share my content. I discuss or I talk about things that affect me as a foreigner in Ireland. It could be travel, it could be anything at all that you might be interested in. Share and okay, so the first thing that you're going to do if you are migrating or coming to Ireland is do your research. So like I mentioned, accommodation is quite very hard to get in Ireland. It's not only in Ireland, almost the rest of the so-called first world countries are struggling to accommodate people. I have had people from outside Ireland suggest. So the first thing that you have to do is actually do your research. And I always stress this point out. I just couldn't stress that hard enough. So do your research. There has been some issues all around Europe. It's not only in Europe, in Australia, in the US, in the UK. There are a bit of house shortages in across the world actually. So there is a need for accommodation. So Ireland is not the only country that has issues with accommodation, but just be mindful that you're going to struggle looking for a place. So the first thing that you need to do is find reliable resources, legit websites in Ireland. So every website in Ireland ends with .ie. So just be mindful when you search online for accommodation in Ireland, the website is actually in Ireland. But I'm going to mention about 3 of them that I know of that you can actually avail and get information from them. First of all, the one that I have been using for quite a while when I'm looking for a place to stay is draft.ie. It's quite easy to use. You just download the app, you put on your dates on when you're going to be looking for a place to stay, which area, is it in Dublin or is it in Cork, so it covers the rest of Ireland. So you put your prices as well. What can I afford to pay? So if you're looking for 650 to 2,000, because the apartments literally next door to mine, they are about 2,000 per month. So that is probably for people who are working. But if you're a student looking for a 1-bedroom house, you can range your prices according to what you can afford. So draft.ie, and then there's another one called myhome.ie. So it kind of works the same. You put what you can afford, the area, is it a single bed, a double bed, so it ranges your There's another one that is called Roomstar. I'm not quite familiar with this one. It's new, probably maybe after I got accommodation it was introduced, but I would assume it works the same. So yeah, so those 3 websites in Ireland. And then the second thing that you need to do that you can actually get accommodation in notice boards. You walk into Super Value, you walk into Centra, you will find there's a notice board when you walk into the store. So just glance and see if there's anybody looking for a roommate. Those are quite reliable. So but you just need to be careful on the person who you are contacting. So notice board on supermarkets, and then notice board even if you work in your work area. Just say something to your workmate that, guys, I just got in and I'm looking for a place to stay. And you might find that the person that you're sitting next to, they are also looking for a roommate. So it's quite reliable because you work with them as well. So if you are a church goer as well, you might mention it to your congregation and say, guys, I'm just new here and I'm looking for a place to stay. So notice board, very reliable, and your colleagues at work. So then the other thing that you might need to look at is the Facebook groups or even the WhatsApp groups. They do have if you are outside Dublin and you're looking to have your own community, your own culture, your own food, your own kind of people that you want to be living with, they do have some Facebook groups. And I know one of South Africa living in the UK, in Ireland, and then I know of another one, Nigeria living in Ireland and the UK. And then there's an Indian living in the UK and Ireland, and then there is, I think, the Filipino living in Ireland. So just be familiar with those groups. You would find people that you speak the same language, you eat the same food, and you love to live in your own community. So Facebook groups. Okay, so as mentioned previously, the websites or the apps that you will have somebody contacting you and agreeing to you to come and view the house. Just be mentally prepared that there will be a huge queue for people coming in to view the house. You're not the only person coming in to view the house, but I'll give you one tip. You need to give a very good impression to the landlords or the agencies that they are giving you all this information. So just make sure that when you, after viewing, you ask a lot of questions. You are interested in the house, and then when you finish viewing the house, make sure you go back to the agencies and tell them why you think you are the best person for that particular house. And you're clean, you like pets. If you don't like pets, you mention that, because some of these things are preferences. And then just make sure you give a very good first impression so that people can remember you, and then go back and rewrite and write an email to them, and then give them a very long details of what are your interests, and it will capture their. Okay, so the other thing is, how do I save myself from being scammed? Yes, there's a lot of scammers even here in Europe, so just be careful. Don't give your money to somebody cash in hand, and then do not so avoid being scammed. Okay, so you might get scammed. Just be very wary. Avoid giving people money cash in hand. If it's a legit landlord, they will give you their bank details, they will give you their mobile phones, they will give you the time when to contact them, and then don't give cash in hand. Just avoid all those kind of scams, because I've had instances where people go on to view their house, and then somebody pretended to be the landlord or the owner of the house, and they take their money from them, and then you'll never hear of them after that. So just be wary of, nobody's gonna ask you for money until you have signed the contract. So if somebody comes on to you and said, no, you need to have a deposit of this amount of money before we could sign the contract, that's a bit fishy. Just make sure that you don't fall onto those kind of. Okay, so I've had people actually asking me if I can accommodate them. People contact me on Instagram, on Facebook, and saying, can you help with the accommodation? I don't mind somebody contacting me on I can provide the website, I can give you directions on where to go to, but I generally cannot accommodate you. I have kids, I have my husband, and there's no way. With all, I do appreciate your view and your subscription, but I genuinely can't afford, even if you are from Botswana or from anywhere in Africa, I can't. So it's a matter of trust, and there's no way I can give you accommodation in my space. So thank you so much for watching.
We talk on